Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this JAM webinar on Traxon Premium Tracking. My name is Bart-Jan Haasbeek. I am JAM's Events and Engagement Manager, and our three panelists today are Laurent Jossa, Jerry Winter, and Charles Morale. Before introducing Charles, Laurent, and Jerry, I would like to address the difficult situation we are facing at the moment. As we are not able to meet at industry gatherings and we still have to keep our social distancing, JAM has organized a series of webinars to still being able to engage with you. We appreciate you took the time to attend this webinar and hope that you and your families are keeping safe. As most of us are working from home, you could be experiencing some background noise. I am working from my home office, and you may hear the door barking or the doorbell ring. Unfortunately, we are not in the comfort of our offices where we are better equipped. Before we start, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. The duration of the webinar is around 30 minutes, including questions up to 45 minutes. All the presented data is fictitious, and the audience today is basically everybody in the supply chain: manufacturers, consignee shippers, airlines, GSAs, forwarders. The recording will be distributed to you tomorrow after the webinar. And if you have any questions, please use the tool to address them, and we will, if possible, address them during the call or at the end of the call. There is room also to address those questions. And if there's no more time, then we will send you an email with the answers. And if you are interested to learn more about premium tracking, we would invite you to organize a joint session, a one-on-one session with one of our specialists. Today's agenda, I will introduce the panelists in a minute. Then we will show you the key benefits and the features of premium tracking. Then how does it work? A view from a customer, and then a summary. And then there is this round of questions where you can ask the questions if still needed. First, let me introduce the panelists. In Frankfurt, in Germany, we have Laurent Jossa, JAM's Head of Sales Distribution Services. And Jared Winter, who we know as Jerry, also in Frankfurt, Sales Manager eCargo. And they will inform you of the key benefits of premium tracking. In addition, we are particularly excited to welcome Charles Morale of X-Freight in Miami, who took the time to show you the value proposition from a customer perspective. And last but not least, we have Sinan Selvi, a JAM implementation consultant, who could, if needed, address the more in-depth and technical questions at the end of the session. Laurent, could you please let us know what you will be presenting today and inform us about the features and benefits?
Of course, Bart-Jan. Today, I would like to discuss the advantages of our shipment tracking service, Premium Tracking. We will not go into all technical details and describing communication transfer protocols or transaction formats, but we might touch the one or other of these subjects later. There are, of course, many ways to track a shipment. You can monitor the loading, the unloading at the airport of departure and arrival. You can check the airline websites. You can have barcode systems in the warehouse and on ULDs. You can have specific hardware installed or use geolocation services. The trick is to find the best solution. What do you need in a shipment tracking system, Jerry?
Jerry, cannot hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Firstly, there are a few, there's a human factor. You want an easy to use tool, which allows you to see the status of your shipments. Then there are the more practical issues. You want to be able to plan your resources, your manpower and your trucks to handle the delivery of your customer shipments by knowing where the shipment is at any given time, although it's out of sight. And of course, you want the most accurate information on the shipment's location and giving your customers added value. But above all, you want cost efficiency by minimizing mishandled and wrongly directed shipments. So Laurent, what should we take into consideration when selecting a solution?
Well, you need to ask yourself first about the coverage you need. How many airlines are you doing business with now, maybe in the future, and maybe as a key consideration. And CHEMP has one of the largest air cargo communities, and as such, with our Traxon Premium Tracking, you would be able to track shipments with more than 80 airlines. You should also look for a reputable and experienced provider, and choose a provider who has a fully managed service so that you don't need to do installations locally and minimize your workload. So what are the core benefits of the system, Jerry?
Well, automated updates on my shipment. I need to be able to check my customer's airway bills where I'm not the owner or originator of the airway bill. And you don't want to spend time sifting through data. You just want to see the latest events, i.e. where your shipment is. And ideally, you need the status of from multiple carriers from just one source. And you want simple automated communication via API, and so reducing any workload. Laura?
Next slide, Bardian. So our premium tracking service is a fully automated system which shows the user to track multiple airway bills from multiple carriers with only one API call. It is ideal for forwarders, shippers, consignees, because as we have already mentioned, it allows them a cost-effective planning of the manpower and the resources, and at the same time, it provides added value to their services. It can also be used for software providers who integrate it into their TMS service and offer to their TMS customers added value. Basically, yes. The TMS is using the data we provide to show the data on their system screens.
So Laurent, basically what you're saying is if you're not the originator of the airway bill, you get the updates. So normally, if you're a freight forwarder and you are connected, then you get the information directly in your system. But as a shipper or a consignee, you are relying on the forwarder to send you the information, but now you can receive that information. Is that at the same time as your forwarder does?
It is at the same time, but the problems of the shippers or the consignees or even the import forwarder is that they are relying on somebody in between to provide the data. And with our service, if you have the master airway bill number, you can start a tracking of the shipment.
Yeah. And do you see now, for example, import comes to mind. Normally you get status of an export shipment. Is this also particularly being used on the import side?
Yeah, that's correct, and that's also a major issue, because if you are an import forwarder, you use your partner at the airport of departure to issue the airway bill, then the carrier will only forward the status information to the issuing agent, and so in that case you would not get the status information to your system.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So how does premium tracking work?
Yeah, well, CHEMP creates a tracking profile in premium tracking, and you create a chase job by submitting the airway bill or airway bill numbers, which need to be tracked. And remember, you can track multiple airway bills for multiple carriers, and you do not need to be the originator of the airway bill. The airway bill is sent to CHEMP via RESTful web services, ideally in a JSON format. And if you're not familiar with JSON, don't have to worry, because we can give you support implementing this solution. And the first thing premium tracking does is it makes a historic check of the airway bill numbers and reports any events in sort of 30 days prior, because an airway bill may already be active. And any new status events which are delivered to you automatically and only once. During the trace job, Premium Tracking is constantly checking for any new events within the supply chain and will update you automatically. And your profile defines a terminating event, which is when your trace job will end. This may be an arrival message or a customer clearance message or ready for delivery message, but you decide. And the process starts in general latest when the shipment has been received by the carrier from the shipper. And in addition to the IATA standard events, CHAMP has the possibility to enrich the status history with information from its compliance solutions like Traxon Global Customs and Traxon Global Security. And CHAMP is also using geolocation services like FlightAware to give you in-flight status of the shipment. Back to you, Bart-Jan.
Yes, thank you, Charles, or sorry, thank you, Jerry. In a minute, I would like to ask Charles to show from a user perspective how this is being used. But in the meantime, please allow me to invite the audience to address the questions using the tool. I can see there are already some questions coming in, but we can have more. So please don't be shy and ask if you are interested to learn more. Charles, I would like to hand over to you.
Oh, well, thank you very much for the invite and allowing me to present what we've done with the CHAMP Premium Tracking API. So what we really wanted to accomplish from the beginning was be able to track every air shipment automatically without human intervention at a low cost per airway bill. We also wanted to relay that information to the customers electronically, again, without human intervention. We're trying to really reduce our cost of moving a file. We also wanted to show detailed information of the shipment's progress on a map for a visual representation of where the shipment was at any given time. And we wanted to get this all done through one vendor, through a middleware solution that was easy and quick to integrate with. Next slide, please. There we go. It was very quick and easy to integrate with via their API. There was an added benefit that the API provided us with real-time in-flight data every 72 hours, I believe, or every 2 hours, sorry. That allowed us to pinpoint on a map where the actual shipment was en route. It allowed us to track our third-party shipments, so any import shipments or triangle shipments where we weren't the originator of the airway bill. It also is going to be having some new customs information soon. So that's sort of also exciting for us to be able to relay customs information more above what the airlines already can provide us. So on the next slide here, you can actually see what we've done with the tracking API. You can see every 2 hours, we're getting data from the CHAMP API of the lat long position of the aircraft. We relay this information on a map, and it helps visually represent exactly where the shipment is. So, Bart, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Charles. Very interesting, especially the geolocation with the status updates. Yeah, and this is something that basically everybody would like to have on their website, I'm sure. Let me ask the audience a few questions before we move on, and I will launch a poll with the first question. Do you experience challenges in tracking shipments efficiently? I will give you a moment to answer the poll. I can see the answers are now being given. So at the moment, 71% says yes. We do see an experience. We see challenges in tracking shipments efficiently. 82, so rising. Let me close the poll and share the details with you. So Laurent, any comments on this?
Well, it shows definitely that is the right moment to talk about a solution which can help.
Yes, we have an interested audience, an engaged audience with a need for a solution. A question, another question is, do you see, all shipments are urgent if you send them through air, as an air shipment. Do you see this product being used for particularly urgent shipments, like pharma shipments or ship spares or live animals? I don't know.
Well, in general, the solution can be used for every shipment. Of course, what we see, maybe Charles can also comment after me on this, that it's mainly used for important shipments. Yeah, we have a textile producer who needs to know when the shipments will arrive at the shop. There are customers using it to do their operations in the express business. So it's for special shipments, but I mean, technically it's open for every shipment.
Well, sorry about that. We wanted to use it for every shipment in our ecosystem. So regardless of how important it is, if it's an air freight shipment, we are hitting the API, getting back the information, and relaying it to our customers. Some customers could use it to plan the anticipated ETA of when a shipment's going to arrive. Some customers just like to see the visual representation on a map of where the shipment is because they don't really understand some of the messages that we send to them. So it's useful for all cases.
Yes, I can imagine. In the meantime, I asked the audience, would you like to track shipments where you are not the originator? Normally, if you create an area bill as a forwarder, you are being updated within your system. But in many instances, I can imagine that it's different. Again, the audience is voting.
Maybe one point in between, because some questions came when we speak about shipments where we are not the owner of the area bill, or you're not the owner of the area bill. Just to confirm that we don't share any confidential information from the airway bill data, from the mass airway bill at the FWB transaction message, for example. We only share the status.
Yes. Okay, this is an interesting answer. Everybody says yes, some regularly and some sometimes. So, but the answer is yes, and nobody says no from the audience. So that's again a good indication. Let us go to the next slide of the presentation. The advantages of premium tracking.
Yeah, so why should you use a shipment tracking solution like this? These are the points we have discussed. What are the considerations when selecting a provider and a solution? We have seen the practical applications and feedbacks from Charles at Xtrade. We have discussed the JSON formatted transactions where we enrich the data with in a way that it cannot be done in the IATA format. We've described how premium tracking takes the strain off the workload, saves you developing a complicated and time-consuming routine by yourself. We've seen that you can receive in-flight data without having to employ your own hardware or to check, also subscribe to additional services. How to create a trace job and decide what data you need across multiple carriers and airway bills. The advantage of premium tracking and of course how you can offer added value to your customers. And one big point is that you have one service to connect to about 80 airlines.
Thank you, Laurent. In the meantime, there are many questions, so let's ask a few questions from the audience. This is an interesting one. Does geolocation also work for RFS lags?
For the time being, it's only working for the aircrafts, because the challenges on the road feeder services is that it's it cannot be measured by one system, by one technology. But that's something where we also look into other solutions to integrate them.
Yes. Okay. Then you already mentioned something about this. It's the same person who asked this question. Is it legal to track shipments where we are not the owner of the airway bill?
Well, in a way, it's maybe the owner of the airway bill is maybe not the right word, because in the end, it's always somebody who is linked to the supply chain. So if it is the shipper, in the end, the shipper is not issuing the airway bill, not seen as the owner of the airway bill, but it's the one paying the bill at the end of the day for the transportation. And it's only people who have a legal or a legitimate interest on tracking those shipments. Yeah, because we, in order to use the system, you need to be registered, so we know who is tracking and who is subscribed to track. It's not a public service.
Oh yes, okay. So let's go to the next slide. Who should be using premium tracking?
Yeah, it's basically said anyone who needs to have a status information of one or more airway bill numbers. It's companies dealing with import shipments who might not issue the airway bill and not transmit the FWB transaction to the airline. It can be existing Trax and Cargo Hub customers who would like to track certain airway bills outside the normal process. For example, if they are the import forwarder and having their partner issuing the airway bill at the destination, or to put some enriched data to the customer portals. And it's mainly for forwarders, shippers, consignees. It can also be used by resellers and software providers.
Okay, let's address another question. What happens as soon as I subscribe to an airway bill? What happens?
Well, if you subscribe to the airway bill, the system is checking, doing a historic check for 30 days back if we have already something in the system, and then GEM pushes the information of any new status to your system. And as long as it comes then to a terminating event, which you define according to your needs. Normally, it's by the DLV status that delivered when the shipment has been handed over to the recipient.
Yes, I have another question which relates to this one, but let's get to that in a minute. In the meantime, I have launched the last question to the audience. What are the current challenges you experience? And multiple answers are possible here. So there are 4 answers here, and one answer is a clear winner. But let's have some more people in vote. There are still votes getting in. So I will share now the results. Getting alerted of critical events in a timely manner. Yes, and that's exactly what premium tracking does. Could you comment a bit on this also, Laurent, also on the other percentages?
Yeah, first let's do this with a timely manner. Yeah, it's and one concern early customers had when we discussed about launching the product was that sometimes the departure event was submitted when the aircraft was already in the middle of the flight. And that's why we included the in-flight status as well to the shipment, which is making it visual immediately that the aircraft has already departed. And that's also then to the resource planning from the consignee. When the consignee sees that that the shipment is in flight, you can plan the manpower at the destination. Yeah, it seems that definitely our solution, which is used for multiple airways and multiple carriers, yeah, with the 58% each, is the right tool, because it's really just one solution. You don't have to look left and right to include something else. And yeah, tracking the shipments where you're not the owner seems not to be for everybody. But I mean, we have a variety of people on the call from different industries, so that's maybe linking to that answer, that this is not a major concern today.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's go to the questions, and there are many questions arriving from the audience, and a few are around the same topic. First one, can we track courier shipments? Who could answer that question?
Yeah, as this is basically a similar question to can you track house airway bills? The answer is currently no, or not yet. We are working on a solution as well to increase those for the time being. This is for the regular air freight shipments with a master airway bill. So as long as you have the master airway bill number from the air freight, you can track the shipments. And there are courier companies using our service because they send part of their shipments as an air freight master airway bill out. So this part is covered. The rest is something we are developing.
Yeah, another question is also tied into this. What happens if an airway bill prefix is not supported by the service? Maybe Sinan, you could comment on this?
Yes, sure. If the airline is not supported from our system, then you will receive a notification which indicates that this airline is not supported at the moment.
Okay, so you get a message indeed.
Yes, exactly.
Another one for you, Sinan. Is the subscription to track a specific airway bill via API?
Excuse me, Bart-Jan, can you repeat the question?
Is the subscription to track a specific airway bill via API?
Yes, you can subscribe for a different kind of messages. And for example, in the case that you have subscribed already to an existing one, our API will return you a notification message which indicates you that the message that you have already subscribed to this message, for example.
Laurent, this one is a nice one. Somebody says, I love this, as it saves our team having to go into multiple airline systems. How quickly can I turn this on from sign up?
Well, it's something which we can do very quickly. It depends a bit, of course, on the on your side, but we have done this in a day or two already, up to a couple of days, depending on what needs to be done on the customer side as well.
Yes. Okay, that's quick indeed. Somebody who says who is a CargoHub user. I exchange data already with CargoHub and get status events from airlines for those shipments. What are the additional benefits for this specific service?
Well, the first point is you can track shipments which you don't have because you are the import forwarder. and also we can have the enriched status events with the live position. That's something which cannot be handled in the current standard Traxon Cargo Hub service.
Yes, okay. Sinan, this is technical. How can I receive status updates in my system?
So you have basically various choices to receive the status updates. We are currently supporting FTP, RESTful Web Services, IBM MQ, and SMTP as communication channels. And you also have various choices for the data format, such as the IATA Cargo IMP, IATA XML, and the special developed GEMS Cargo JSON format.
Okay, yes. So one language in and another language out.
Exactly. So it depends on you what you want to receive and what you want to send.
Yeah. Is the in-flight event an IATA defined event?
No, this
Jerry,
is, sorry. No, this is actually a specifically developed JAMB event, and we enrich the airway status with live positioning from an external source.
Okay, thank you. So, and another question is technically open for every shipment, quote unquote. Does this mean that that it also works for carriers who are not connected to JAMB? Laurent, I think you can answer that.
No, for carrier who is not connected or has no relationship, that's or has no system from us, we don't have this in our program.
So this is for 80 airlines.
Yeah, we currently have 80 airlines. Yeah, from the Traxon Cargo Hub, we have some more airlines, and we are working on solutions together with other airlines to get them on board as well. It normally depends on the system the airline is using, on what capability the system of the carrier is to provide feedback and status information.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Indeed, this is also a question that was raised. How many airlines have this centralized service? So you just answered that. I think we will do one more question and share the other questions offline. What happens if I'm tracking an Airwable number and try to subscribe again?
I will take over this one. The API will return you a notification message which indicates that you have already a subscription running, and you will be means that you will be notified about the subscription.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do one more question then. Also, this is also technical. I don't know the answer to this. What kind of middleware are you standard using? I don't know.
I think that's a question our security team can answer. I'm not really inside that, to be honest.
Okay, so we will take that offline and answer it offline.
Yes.
Okay, I think we will conclude this the Q&A session. Laurent, would you like to say something in addition?
Yeah, definitely. If you're interested or if you need further information, or you want to have a more detailed call with maybe our and your technical team, don't hesitate to contact our sales team at traxonsales@jamb.aero, or use the LinkedIn communication. And in addition, we are in a position to give you special conditions if you subscribe to the premium tracking solution by the end of June. Of course, T&Cs apply. And would like to especially thank Charles from X-Freight, who took his time to explain what X-Freight does with our solution and how it is integrated into the X-Freight system.
Okay, so let's conclude this GEM Traxon Premium Tracking webinar. Thank you, audience. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Charles. And we would like to invite you to the next webinar in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.